Imagine standing atop a towering stone wall. Below you, an army of nearly 200,000 soldiers stretches to the horizon. Their campfires burn like a second sky. The gates behind you are barred. Food is running out. Disease is spreading. There is no escape. Because in the ancient world, sometimes the deadliest battles weren't fought in a single afternoon. They lasted for weeks, months, even years. Entire civilizations rose or vanished behind walls. Today, we're stepping inside the greatest siege battles ever fought, and witnessing the moments when history itself hung in the balance. Throughout history, walls have symbolized safety. Massive stone fortifications promised protection from invading armies, towering over cities like silent guardians. Behind them lived merchants, craftsmen, priests, rulers, and ordinary families who believed those walls could withstand almost anything. But no wall was truly invincible. Every empire eventually faced an enemy determined not merely to conquer a battlefield, but to imprison an entire city. A siege was unlike any other kind of war. Victory wasn't won with one brilliant cavalry charge or a single decisive clash. It was earned through patience, starvation, engineering, relentless pressure, and the slow erosion of hope. Sometimes defenders survived for years. Sometimes they surrendered after weeks of unimaginable suffering. And sometimes they chose death over opening the gates. From the legendary walls of Troy to the thunder of Ottoman cannons outside Constantinople, these were the battles that reshaped civilizations and revealed just how far humanity would go to hold or seize a city. Our journey begins with one of history's most enduring legends. Long before Rome ruled the Mediterranean, before Alexander marched across Asia, one city became the center of a story that has echoed for more than 3,000 years. Troy. Whether every detail unfolded exactly as later poets described remains uncertain, but archaeological discoveries confirm that a powerful city stood on the northwestern coast of Anatolia in modern-day Turkey. More than one ancient settlement occupied the site, and one of them appears to have suffered destruction during the late Bronze Age. Imagine standing atop Troy's massive limestone walls. Below, thousands of Greek warriors fill the shoreline. Their black ships crowd the beaches. Bronze armor glitters beneath the scorching summer sun. The air carries the smell of salt, sweat, and wood smoke. For years, neither side can force a decisive victory. The defenders trust their towering walls. The attackers refuse to leave. Generations grow up knowing only war. Then comes the tale that would outlive kingdoms: a giant wooden horse, a seemingly abandoned battlefield, a city celebrating what appears to be victory. Whether the famous Trojan horse was a real military deception, a symbolic story, or later literary invention, remains debated by historians. Yet the legend endures because it captures a timeless lesson. Even the strongest defenses can fall when vigilance gives way to overconfidence. According to the epic tradition, as darkness blankets the city, hidden warriors emerge. The gates are opened. The sleeping city awakens to fire. Troy falls. Its destruction becomes one of humanity's greatest stories, reminding future civilizations that sometimes the greatest threat comes not from outside the walls but from within. But centuries later, another siege would prove that strategy alone could defeat overwhelming odds. The year is 52 BC. Across Gaul, tribes unite under a brilliant young leader, Vercingetorix. His goal is simple: drive Rome from his homeland. After a series of battles, he withdraws into the hilltop fortress of Alesia. It seems like the perfect defensive position. Steep slopes, strong fortifications, thousands of determined warriors.
Ready the defenses!
Julius Caesar faces a nightmare: attack directly, and his army may be destroyed. Wait, and a massive Gallic relief force is already marching to rescue the city. So Caesar does something almost unbelievable. Instead of building one wall, he builds two. Around Alesia rises an enormous ring of trenches, wooden towers, sharpened stakes, and earthworks designed to trap the defenders inside. Then facing outward, Rome constructs a second line of fortifications to stop the approaching rescue army. The Romans are now besieging a city, while preparing to be besieged themselves. Imagine standing in those defensive works. Rain turns the trenches into mud, trumpets echo across the valleys. Smoke drifts from thousands of campfires. Every day brings new attacks, from inside and outside, at the same time. For exhausted Roman soldiers, sleep becomes a luxury. Food is rationed. Every breach threatens disaster. Then comes the final assault. Thousands of Gallic warriors crash against the outer defenses, while defenders inside Alesia launch desperate attacks from the opposite direction. For a moment, Rome teeters on the edge of defeat, but disciplined formations hold. Caesar personally rides into the fighting to rally his men. By the end of the battle, the relief army is shattered. With no hope remaining, Vercingetorix surrenders. Legend says he rode from the city in full armor, circled Caesar's seat, laid down his weapons, and accepted captivity. The conquest of Gaul was complete. Rome had secured one of its greatest military triumphs. Yet the next city would endure suffering on a scale almost beyond imagination. The year is AD 70. Jerusalem is more than a city. It is the spiritual heart of a people. Pilgrims have traveled for generations to worship at its magnificent temple, whose gleaming white stone and golden details dominate the skyline. Narrow streets weave between crowded homes and bustling markets, while the scent of bread, incense, and livestock fills the air. But outside the walls, an empire has arrived. Following a Jewish revolt against Roman rule, General Titus marches toward Jerusalem with tens of thousands of experienced legionaries. Around them, camps spread across the hills, their red banners fluttering in the hot summer wind. For the people inside the city, hope rests on Jerusalem's mighty fortifications. For the Romans, failure is not an option. The siege begins. Roman engineers move with astonishing precision. Forests surrounding the city are cut down to build siege towers, battering rams, and enormous earth ramps. Massive wooden machines creep toward the walls while archers and artillery keep defenders under constant pressure. Day after day, the thunder of iron against stone echoes through the valleys. Defenders rain arrows, rocks, and burning pitch onto the attackers. Every breach is contested. Every street becomes another battlefield. Yet the greatest enemy is not outside the walls. It is inside them. Food begins to disappear. Families divide the last scraps of grain. Clean water becomes precious. Disease spreads through crowded neighborhoods. Fear grows with every passing sunrise. As hunger tightens its grip, order begins to collapse. Rival factions within the city fight each other even as the Romans close in, weakening Jerusalem's ability to resist. Weeks stretch into months. Then, the outer walls fall. Roman soldiers pour into the city. Still, the defenders refuse to surrender. The fighting moves house by house, alley by alley. Smoke fills the sky. Cries echo between the stone buildings. Finally, the Romans reach the temple. Flames rise into the night. One of the most sacred buildings of the ancient world is consumed by fire. Whether the destruction was fully intentional or began amid the chaos of battle has been debated by historians. But its consequences were undeniable. When the smoke finally clears, Jerusalem lies devastated. The siege marks a turning point in Jewish and Roman history, reshaping the religious and political landscape of the region for centuries to come. But even the destruction of Jerusalem would be overshadowed by another siege, one that would bring an empire more than 1,000 years old to its knees. It is the spring of 1453. For over 11 centuries, Constantinople has stood as one of the greatest cities on earth. Its churches, glitter with golden mosaics. Its harbors are crowded with ships from 3 continents. Its markets overflow with silk, spices, precious metals, and ideas from every corner of the known world. Most impressive of all, its walls. The Theodosian walls have protected the city for nearly 1,000 years, stopping Persians, Arabs, Bulgars, Rus, and countless other invaders. Many believe they are impossible to break. But this time, everything is different. Outside the walls waits the young Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed II. He is only 21 years old, yet he commands an army estimated at more than 80,000 men, supported by engineers, sailors, and a new weapon that will change warfare forever: gigantic cannons. Some are so enormous they require teams of oxen to move them. Each thunderous blast shakes the earth itself. Stone walls that had resisted centuries of attack begin to crack. Inside the city, Emperor Constantine XI Palaiologos knows help is unlikely to arrive. His defenders are vastly outnumbered. Every citizen who can carry a weapon joins the defense. Monks stand beside professional soldiers. Merchants become archers. Young apprentices carry stones to repair shattered walls under constant bombardment. Every night, the defenders rebuild. Every morning, the cannons tear those repairs apart again. Then comes one of the most remarkable moments of the siege. The Ottomans transport dozens of ships over greased wooden tracks across land, bypassing the Great Chain, protecting the Golden Horn. Suddenly, the defenders face attacks from a direction they thought was secure. The city is surrounded completely. After nearly 2 months of relentless fighting, Mehmed orders one final assault. Before dawn, waves of soldiers surge toward the breaches. Arrows darken the sky. Cannons roar. Church bells ring across the city. The defenders fight with desperate courage. Then, a gate is breached. Ottoman banners rise above the walls. Street fighting erupts. Emperor Constantine XI is believed to have cast aside his imperial insignia and entered the fighting as an ordinary soldier. He is never seen alive again. By midday, Constantinople has fallen. The Byzantine Empire, direct heir of ancient Rome, comes to an end after more than 1,000 years. The city will live on under a new name and a new empire, but its fall sends shockwaves across Europe, helping usher in the end of the Middle Ages and the beginning of a new era. Yet one final siege would decide whether that expanding empire could push even farther into the heart of Europe. The year is 1683. The Ottoman Empire stands at the height of its power. For centuries, its armies have expanded across 3 continents, controlling vast territories from the Middle East to southeastern Europe. Now their eyes turn toward one of the most important cities in Europe, Vienna, the gateway to the heart of the continent. If Vienna falls, the road west could open. An enormous Ottoman army marches toward the city under the command of Grand Vizier Kara Mustafa Pasha. Behind them are thousands of soldiers, cavalry units, engineers, artillery crews, and troops from across the empire. The scale is overwhelming. For the people of Vienna, the approaching army appears unstoppable. Inside the city walls, panic spreads. Families rush to gather supplies. Church bells ring warnings. Smoke rises from villages outside the city as people flee toward safety. The defenders know the truth. They are not simply protecting a city. They are fighting for the survival of an entire region. When the Ottoman forces arrive, Vienna becomes a fortress surrounded by an ocean of enemy soldiers. Their camps stretch across the landscape. Thousands of tents cover the fields. At night, countless fires illuminate the darkness. From the walls, defenders watch the enormous army waiting below. Then the bombardment begins. Ottoman cannons attack the fortifications. Engineers dig underground tunnels, attempting to place explosives beneath the walls. The defenders respond by digging their own counter-tunnels, creating a hidden war beneath the streets. Above ground, the city fights for every hour. Below ground, soldiers battle in darkness. The siege becomes a war of patience, a war of exhaustion, a war where survival itself becomes victory. But as weeks pass, the situation inside Vienna becomes desperate. Food supplies decline, disease spreads, the walls are damaged. The defenders know that if help does not arrive soon, the city will fall. Then, in September, hope appears on the horizon. A relief army approaches. Among them are forces from the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, led by one of Europe's most famous commanders, King John III Sobieski. The Ottoman army must now fight on two fronts. Their siege becomes a trap. On September 12th, 1683, the final battle begins. Thousands of cavalry charge across the hills surrounding Vienna. Then comes one of the largest cavalry attacks in history. The famous Polish winged hussars descend upon the Ottoman lines. Their armor shines beneath the sun. Their long wings and banners create a terrifying image as they thunder down the battlefield. The Ottoman army begins to collapse. The siege that once seemed unstoppable ends in defeat. Vienna survives. The Ottoman expansion into Central Europe is halted. The battle becomes one of the defining moments in European history. But the story of sieges is not only about kings, armies, and empires. Behind every wall were ordinary people, families waiting in fear, soldiers fighting through exhaustion, children growing up surrounded by war. Because every siege was more than a military contest. It was a human struggle between survival and destruction. For thousands of years, civilizations built walls because they understood one simple truth. A city was not just a place. It was the heart of a civilization. Inside those walls were temples where people prayed, markets where merchants traded, homes where families created generations of memories, libraries where knowledge was preserved, palaces where rulers displayed their power. To capture a city was to capture everything it represented. This is why siege warfare became one of humanity's greatest tests of intelligence. Attackers developed enormous machines designed to overcome stone. Catapults launched massive rocks over walls. Siege towers carried soldiers above defenses. Battering rams shattered gates. Engineers built tunnels beneath cities. Later, gunpowder transformed everything. The strongest walls that had protected civilizations for centuries could suddenly be destroyed by cannon fire. But defenders evolved too. They created thicker fortifications, hidden passages, improved artillery, complex defensive systems. Every siege became a competition between human creativity and human destruction, and every victory came with a cost. From the legendary walls of Troy to the desperate final days of Constantinople, from Caesar's impossible victory at Alesia to the battle for Vienna that changed the future of Europe, sieges reveal something powerful about human history. Civilizations are not only built by conquerors, they are built by the people who refuse to disappear. The soldiers who stand on the walls, the families who endure impossible conditions, the engineers who create wonders of defense and destruction, and the cities that survive long after the battles are forgotten. Today, many of these walls are ruins. The armies are gone, the weapons have fallen silent, but the stories remain. Because history is not just about who won, it is about what humanity was willing to endure, and every stone left behind carries the memory of those who stood there before us. History never truly disappears. It waits, buried beneath ancient streets, hidden inside forgotten walls, waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this journey through the greatest siege battles ever fought, subscribe for more cinematic historical documentaries. And tell us in the comments, which historical battle, empire, or lost civilization should we explore next?